Alright, hey guys, back with another update. As you can see, still don't have my license plate, but I should have it by the time this expires. If not, I'll be good, whatever. So what I wanted to show you today was the 3 jobs that I did on the Celica so far. Well, not so far, but since the last update. I flushed the coolant, and here's what they looked like. Yeah, it's supposed to be red, but as you can see from this first flush can, it's like almost black. There's bits of crap floating in it. These two were mixed up with some water, but yeah, not really how the coolant is supposed to look like. I'd pour some more out. I'd pour some more out if I had a clear container, but I don't. So yeah, flushing the coolant was a huge pain in the ass because the radiator drain plug is beneath this air box, and you cannot access it from the bottom of the car because it drains out beneath this subframe or radiator holder right here. It drains out of this hole. So you have to reach down through the top to loosen the plug, which is a huge pain in the ass because the stock airbox you have to remove to get to the plug. And when you're flushing the radiator and you have to remove and put the airbox back on to start the car, it is really, really annoying. So that was another thing I was working on. Was I thought my airbox was broken, and I mean it looks like it is. It kind of is right here with the clip, doesn't clip in like this one here, but it works. And the replacement airbox that I got was the exact same deal. So what I'm planning to do is to just get a short ram intake. What the fuck? I didn't put this back on? Okay, no I did. Okay. But yeah, I'm planning to get a short ram intake to replace the airbox and everything, just so I can have more access beneath the engine bay and clean it up, because honestly, I'm not a fan of this stock air intake right here. And on the Celica also, the coolant is pressurized. So once you open the cap and open the bleeder valve right here, you have to basically burp the system when you're refilling the the coolant, and it is designed in a way so that the coolant reservoir here, it just unbolts real quick. You can lift it up and put it on the hood latch right here, and what that does is it raises the reservoir up above the engine level, which means when you run the engine, it will start to bleed off all the air bubbles that have gotten into the system, and that's burping your cooling system, because you don't want air in there for sure. So what I did since the last update was I fucked around with the airbox. I tried to replace it with a new one. I ended up returning the new one, just putting the old one back on, and then I flushed the radiator like 4 times. Yeah, I used 4 gallons of water to flush it, and some Blue Devil radiator flush. And then also, I did something really stupid when replacing my my fuel injectors here. So the fuel rail, this black thing right here, doesn't come off. And what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so the fuel rail doesn't come off. It just kind of lifts up. It pivots around this thing right here, so it just kind of pivots up like that. And When I was taking my fuel injectors out, they all came out all nice, but let me get the old ones and we'll show you. What did I do with them? There they are. Okay. I think this one, no, this one doesn't have it. Okay, never mind. Okay. So first of all, I had the airbox, well, I was fucking around with the airbox and it pissed me off. So I decided to just work on the fuel injectors. And I did something really stupid, which was I did not drain the fuel out of the system properly, which is meaning you would have to like open the relay box here and then pull the relays for the fuel pump and run the engine until it stalls so that all the fuel is out of the fuel rail. That's what I was trying to say earlier. I didn't do that, so when I took up the fuel rail and took out the injectors, fuel went everywhere, all over my engine and engine bay and the garage floor. It was just a huge mess. And so I decided to just put in the new injectors, which I did. They fit in fine, and then I let it sit for a while, like a whole day. And while that was sitting, I replaced my fog lights. They're brand new now, both sides, and they work. For comparison, this is the old driver's side fog light, completely cracked, completely rusted out. So easy, very easy replacement. Just 2 bolts right here, well, 2 screws I mean, 1 screw right here, 1 screw right here, and then a third adjustment screw that was right here. It has a spring and the electrical connector. That's it. Fits right into the bracket. Very easy replacement. So I'm very happy with that. And then I also drained my automatic transmission fluid. The Celica takes Type 4, and it also has a transaxle. So you just get under the car and there's one drain bolt. It takes a 10mm Allen head, and you just drain it out and it's fine. And you fill it back up through the dipstick hole right here, this red one. If I can get it out, there you go. Yeah, this is the one that you just refill it through. So my transmission fluid was also very, very black. Obviously had probably never been changed in the whole life of the vehicle. And once I had that done, it was about 8 o'clock. I had no more daylight to work with. So I'm probably going to get a work light so I can just latch it onto my hood right here. Yeah, but I stopped there, and then the next day, with my engine all dried out and everything, I tried to start her up, and the fuel injectors leaked very, very badly. Like, we're talking, I lost quite a few, I would say almost a quart of gasoline from both when I took out the old injectors and when I started up the car. So what happened was my engine was hella dirty, and a bunch of like gunk and leaves got down into the injector wells right there. And when I put the new grommets in and the new injectors in, all the crap in there just like blocked the grommets and everything, and that caused some big leaks. But then also, once I got that all cleaned up with like Q-tips and a vacuum and everything, once I got that all cleaned up, they still leaked. So what had happened was, when I installed the new fuel injectors, I didn't put any Vaseline around the O-rings. So when I was putting the new fuel injectors in, the O-rings got pinched and like they visibly deformed very badly. and so I had to take the O-rings off my old ones and put them back on, and now they're fine. But I would not recommend doing that because I noticed that my old O-rings obviously were showing signs of wear. So in the future, I'm probably going to have to replace those O-rings, but they're working for now. So yeah, Vaseline's good for lubing the fuel injectors up. They all recommend Vaseline because it's petroleum based, which means it will dissolve in gasoline, leave no residue, and you honestly can't put too much Vaseline on when you're putting in the fuel injectors. And so another tip was to twist the fuel injectors in instead of pushing them in so that it doesn't pinch the O-rings. And once I did that, lubed them up and twisted them in, works fine. So basically the moral of the story is don't get pissed off when you're working on your car and try and start taking shortcuts. Make sure you only bite off what you can chew and just do one project at a time, because the airbox was really annoying me. It took me like 3 hours just to get it out. It's just really in there, honestly. Like it's very hard to remove the stock airbox, which is another reason why I want to get the short ram. But yeah, I've been checking my oil as well, and it seems to have lost a little bit, but I think that was just because there was no oil in the new not the new oil filter, I mean. So I topped it off again and haven't run low ever since. What else? Tomorrow, let me close this. So tomorrow, I'm planning. I already have an appointment to get my power locks fixed. I'm gonna take it to a shop, and they're gonna put in a remote entry system, because when I actuate my lock switch, the locks don't lock or unlock. The hatch does, but not the actual doors. So it's obviously a problem with the actuator in here or something, and not anything electrical, but who knows. Yeah, so that's what's on the agenda. Next is my locks tomorrow, and let's see. Shit. And I've been looking at brakes. I haven't decided on what kind of brakes I want yet, but my brakes look okay so far. The rotor is like still smooth. There's no scoring or anything on it. A little bit of rust, but that's to be expected. The pads also probably have been changed recently. I haven't noticed any brake fade or less stopping distance than what should be normal. So the calipers too, working fine. They look okay still, but I still want new brakes. Either a big brake kit or just upgraded brakes. So that's almost what's left on the schedule for this year with the car. Is just getting the locks fixed, the brakes done. I want to look at suspension, but honestly the car is performing fine right now. There's no problems with the suspension that I've noticed, but I might take it to a shop and have them look at it. I haven't noticed any rust or anything, so yeah. So suspension, brakes, the car. Oh yeah, last thing would be the center console. Oh, let me get my key again. This is why I'm getting a keyless entry, because it's hella annoying doing this all the time. Yeah, center console, definitely something I have to work on. This needs to be replaced, basically. Yeah, it doesn't even have an aux cord, so my dad was saying get something with a screen so that you can watch stuff while you're on a long drive. I might do that. This little holder right here, I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, because I don't think there's any like entertainment things that will fit in there. And the part that was in here, the latch thing, I broke when taking it out, so whatever. So yeah, those are the major things on the schedule for this year. And then, oh yeah, and the seats, I should say, whatever. The passenger side is fine though, but I don't know if I'm gonna reupholster the seat or go buy like a racing one. So yeah, I'll keep you guys updated. Thanks for watching. See yous.